every table must have a primary key. Okay, so and primary keys we've already learned. They can be any type, doesn't matter. They can be character or they can be integer. But it is that field or that composite field that uniquely identifies every record in the table. Which of these fields do you think will work as a primary key of the table that you see? Employee number. So how did we say we would make it the primary key? We would just put the reserved primary key. So make that change now, please, since you already know about it, right? So I will do this minimum till I do normalization with you. Though there are more rules to normalization. Normalization means the good rules of database design. That means how you design a table. We've learned this rule last week, and that's the minimum, the first one. Every table must have a primary key, right? And of course, there is an auxiliary to it. The auxiliary says no field must be repeated, but we'll talk about more about it when we need it. But we'll keep this in mind that every table in a database must have a primary key. And this one works well for us. It's unique and it's not null, right? Now, automatically primary key says it is unique and not null. But something that kind of occurred to me yesterday when I was teaching the other section was it can be a blank. I haven't said it's not blank. And that is kind of useless again. So if I leave this, you can give it a value, it's an int, right? Yeah, but if it was a varchar, for example, I could just leave it blank. Like I could say opening quotes and closing quotes, and it's a valid value. So now that should be avoided too. You know what I mean? Like in employee number or whatever, like you did. What did you do with we did the donut name last week. But I can leave it blank. Whether you put one blank, whether you leave it empty or you put 10 blanks, doesn't matter. The field is blank. So we shouldn't allow that too in a primary key, and that doesn't come in the definition. So now I'll have to put my head around as to how to enforce that the field cannot be blank also. Like there has to be something, because blank is a valid value. There's nothing wrong. It's a valid string. If it was a string, it is a valid string. An empty string is a valid string, and it doesn't come under the definition of not null. Null is different from an empty string. So I was just thinking about it yesterday, and I'm saying, oh my, I never thought about it. So we shouldn't even allow it. So I'll have to now search for something in my SQL that doesn't allow empty fields, like blank fields also. Primary key doesn't have that definition. All primary key says is unique. So I can only put blank once, but I can put it once. I can have an empty field. You can try it. It will work if you have your, I don't have it open, but if you have, we had donuts last week, right? So if in the donuts, I think we had a, see, I had a varchar 20 primary key. Now, if I try to insert a value, empty. And doesn't matter whether it is one blank or two blank or whatever blank, it really doesn't matter. It's an empty field. And then I say what? Then we have the donut type. I'll just kind of go AA, doesn't matter. And then we had the cost. I'll just say $1. And then we had the rating, which can be one of these. So I'll go blank. Blank is valid, right? And I put a comma. I don't see an error. But this is as bad as saying that the field is now, how will you identify this record? It doesn't have a donut name. So if I try it, if I run this script, and this problem will only occur in varchar because not in ints, right? We can't leave it blank in an int. So if I try this now and run this script, see it runs. Oh, there was much more, but it runs. I don't see any error. Oh God, there it is. Look at the first record. That's a useless record. It's a record without a donut name. And I said the primary key was the donut name. So I have to now kind of look it up. This should not be allowed, but not null will not take care of it. Primary key, of course, will not take care of it. I mean, it's the same thing. And it is unique. Only one of the records has a blank name. It's unique. So I'll have to figure it out. So keep in mind that whether you give a small, and that doesn't matter. If you try this, you'll say, oh, what do you mean unique? I can't add it again. So I can go something like, even if it is more than one blanks, it's no different. It is still an empty string. And I'll again go AA. Oops, it was a, or you can go BB. But this will give you an error. $1, and we'll go this. I'll put a comma here. So at least we are safe here. It's the same thing. They're both the same thing. I'll get an error here. Notice it says duplicate entry. But I am still able to insert one record with a blank donut name. and it should not happen because it's my identifying field. So I'm stuck there. I have to think about it. I'll have to kind of do a little bit of research. But this works. Unfortunately, it works. But logically, that's what it is. It's a varchar field. I can leave it empty. Nothing stops me. Primary key doesn't stop me to leave it empty. You know what? Let me try this, but I don't, but who knows? Though not null is redundant. Not null is redundant with the primary key. Let's try that. Maybe that's the solution that you should put it with it. Doesn't look like, but anyway. $1. Okay, let's try. There is no syntax error for sure. Let's run it again. Though not null is kind of an overkill, primary key automatically means it is not null and unique. I'm just seeing if it will behave itself because every database is different, right? So let's see if it behaves itself in MySQL. Oh, I should have just run that one. Oops. I keep forgetting that. Hopefully I'll remember now. Oh, I have the first one. It is redundant. Not null is not required. So think about it. See if you can get a solution for me. And I'll have to, of course, Google it too. I'll have to do it too. I'll be following the same thing as you. But if you're looking for something here, what did you do? Did it say unique? No, unique will not help. What did it say? Oh, okay. And then before you insert. Set it to null. Okay, so some kind of your second course, right? Okay, so there is no, thanks Thomas, there is no, and I'll also look into it, but Thomas has come up with something and you can't do anything here, like you cannot do anything here in the description of the table, but you can create a trigger. A trigger is like a event, like something happens, so you're triggering it and so the blank in that field, set it to null. But null will not work for us because it is a not null field, but we can set it to something else, which is kind of, yeah, something. We can do something, at least we know that this record is invalid and we can remove it afterwards. We can give it empty. We can call its donut name empty. And then, or not, whatever, something like that, so that we can then, when we clean up, we can clean up the table and say remove everything that has empty in its, empty means the word empty. It has empty in its donut name. But a trigger has to be set. That means programming has to be done. So there is nothing in the create that will allow you to do it. I was looking for a reserved word or something. That was what I was thinking. Though I don't know, like it doesn't make sense. There will be something. Or maybe there was something called not empty. Who knows? Like, I don't know. I haven't looked it up. But there is the solution that Thomas found was to set a trigger. So you read it, but before you set it, before you put it in the table, it checks. Is it empty? Oops, cannot be done. Replace it with something else. Okay, so that's one solution for sure that will work, but I'll try to see if I can find a reserved, something that's already there and will allow me to just add it to my create table command. That's what I had in mind. So we have to be careful about this. There is a solution, except we can't do it because we are kind of, that trigger and all that, you'll do it in your course too, but you will do it. Okay, so having said that, so all I would prefer, again, it's just because it's easy. Wherever you have these numbers that just look like numbers but are really not numbers, avoid using ints at all. Go with chars or varchars depending upon your situation, right? So it's not wrong. It's just strings are easy to handle. In there, if I wanted to find out, for example, a phone number or with student IDs, suppose all students who joined the college in 2017, the college appends 2017 at the end of their student ID to identify them, something like that. Then it's easy to find. All you have to do is use a substring function and extract it and say, oh, these were the students who joined in 2017. So those things can be done, which you can do with numbers. With numbers, the code will be big. You can, but why put in so much effort when it can be done with substrings? So avoid using them unless it is an auto increment primary key. An auto increment primary key means that key will automatically be created by the system. You won't put it in, it will automatically create it. And those are integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay, so that's that. Now for the second one, please change your EMP name to employee name. Don't use short forms just because they may not make sense. Okay, and do a replace all. So that's about not using shorthands. And actually, I came across all this while I was looking for naming conventions in SQL. I've said it a lot of times. I repeat it again because it seems like not everybody is paying attention or doesn't want to, but maybe the last time now. You can either use all lowercase, and I found the name also. It's called the snake convention. When you use all lowercase letters and separated by underscore, the words by underscore, it's called the snake convention. I didn't know about it, but it's called snake. So now you know what a snake convention is, snake naming convention. I think because, I mean, like they're all the same size, you know what I mean? So it's like the snake. So they call it the snake naming convention. So you can either use snake naming convention in SQL, and it is highly recommended, or the Java naming convention, which is second in place. I mean, they say don't use it. Use the snake naming convention. And again, different databases may have different conventions. MySQL definitely says use the snake convention. It doesn't, it said don't use the Java naming convention. I mean, I don't know, maybe that's how people in MySQL work. It could be different for Oracle. It could be different for DB2. But on the whole, all databases use snake convention. And the snake convention is so easy, all lowercase. So you don't even have to think about it, which is capital, which is small. All lowercase and separate words by underscore. How difficult is that? Not at all. But again, I found so many new and different conventions in assignment 1. Like they were so different. They were all over the place. And if you have to use Java naming convention, guys, Java naming convention uses camel case. The first letter of the first word is small, and then every first letter of every other word is capitalized. That's camel case. But as I said, 50% naming conventions were not followed. In assignment 1, they were not. Like it's, I don't know why, but it was not. That's okay. Right? So go with snake. Is it difficult to remember? No. You don't even have to think about it. All lowercase. Separate by underscore. Guys, stick to naming convention. Every assignment will have marks for it. That's the only way I can force you to think. But if you don't, that's perfectly fine by me too. So I've seen a combination. People are using Java naming convention because they know it, but they're putting underscore also in between. Won't work. Okay. So it's your marks. But if you learn right, you will always remember right. Why even not learn right is the main thing. And if you want to be programmers, I would highly recommend doing it. Let's look at job disc now. Now, this is more, you will notice if you kind of look at the data, more than a description, it's like a designation. Notice how this says the job description is president, or this person is a manager, or this person is a salesman. So it's more of a designation, but I think DESC means description. That's the logical short form for it. So we'll keep that, and I would change the disc to description. Oops. So all these small names were put by me so that I could show you that they're not good. So please see that before you kind of go on, you make changes to it so that you don't repeat them. Manager number is not bad, but we could always go manager number. Because NO, though again, all of us know NO is a short form for number, but it also means no. NO is also no. So we are intelligent because we are programmers, just saying it. But not everybody will understand it. And again, it would be nice if I can see something like this when you describe your table, when you create your tables. Easy to read, much easier to read. Replace all, go here, edit, find, and then find and replace. Okay, so that's what you could change definitely in the create table command. Look at others now. The others are kind of okay. I think they will make sense. Employee name is varchar 40. It's just a varchar. Not null means you can't put null values into it. Job description is 20. You'll see, oh, description only 20, because notice how it only had president, manager, and salesman and so on in it. That's why it's only 20. Whenever you hear the word description, you think it will be bigger. So I would go with designation, but you can leave it at description. Then comes oops, I thought I changed. Oh, I didn't replace all. Okay, the manager number is again a small int, because the manager number says who is the manager of this employee, and he himself or she himself will be an employee. So they have to be the same type. This is a small int, this is a small int, and they're both unsigned. You see, the manager number of any employee is a number of the same kind, small int, unsigned, because it's a number. And every manager is also an employee. So it's the same number. Okay, so if you'll notice the data, if you can see, president doesn't have a manager, but this guy is, he's a manager, and his manager is 7839, which is the president. Look at this one. Ellen's manager is 7698, and 7698 is Martin. So definitely the manager numbers type will be same as the employee number type, because manager number is an employee number. Okay, so again, think, what do I need? So it's the same field. It just says who is the manager of this particular employee, and we need his number, his ID. And of course, it will be of the same type as the employee number. So you can make this as a small int, and you can make this as a tiny int. Can't. They're the same fields, type of fields. Okay. So again, if I made this a char, I would make this a char also. I'm just leaving it because it's not incorrect. Now, a type that you haven't seen at all till date. It's called the date type. The date type is stored in that format that I've written, though there are two options. You can write it like I've written it. This format is what I will use because it makes more sense to me. So I'll go 4Ys dash 2Ms dash DD, that is year dash month dash day, and I'll use quotes. But date is not text data. Please don't treat it as text data. It is not. You will not use the like verb with it. You will not. Like is only used with text data. It works. MySQL, these languages are careless because they're not strict languages. They say, okay, it works, so it's okay. But maybe it doesn't work in Oracle. You know what I mean? So don't get into bad habits. Date is not text, even though I'm using quotes in it. It is a different kind of field. You can find, it has many inbuilt functions. You can find the month, you can find the year, you can find the day, you can find whether one date is less than the other. You can compare it. They are numbers, they are like numbers. You can do comparisons. Is one date greater than or less than, greater than, equal to, not equal to? You can use relational operators. But do not use like with dates as you use it with text. The other format in which dates can be saved is without the quotes and without the dashes. All as one big number. YYYYMMDD as a number. You can do that. If you like to do that, that's up to you. I'll stick to this one. It just seems more familiar. So you choose whatever you like. If you want to go with this format, and be consistent, please. Don't mix and match in your code. If you want to use this format, see that you use it throughout. When you're creating, when you are inserting your data, when you're selecting, when you're doing comparisons, when you're inserting, anything, wherever, updating, deleting, always go with this format. If you want to use the other one, you're most welcome to use it. All you have to do is remove the quotes and the dash. The rest remains the same. 4 Ys, 2 Ms, and 2 Ds. Whichever format works for you and you understand better, use it. And a date field, as you can see, has 3 parts to it. It has year, it has month, and it has day. And there are 4 2 years. There it is a YYYY. After the Y2K problem in 2000, nobody has used 2-digit dates ever since 2000. The problem from 1999, when we went to 2000, there was a whole lot of commotion in the computer industry. I don't know if you were aware of it. Maybe you were too young, right? But there was a whole lot of commotion because all programs were using 2-digit dates. Because nobody thought, like silly, but nobody thought that you would go to the 21st century. Like, you know what I mean? Like from 20th century to go to the 21st century. Nobody thought about it. And billions and billions of lines of code had to be changed. In terms of, it was in billions. More so in COBOL, because it was the common business oriented language. And there were a lot of jobs, believe me, at that time in this part of the world in COBOL. Lot of, anybody who knew COBOL could get a job. It was that bad. They just needed people who could code in COBOL and databases. Why? Because databases data was stored in 2 digits. So we will never, so I think they've removed it. I don't even think that format is even allowed, but it was. We could do YYMMDD, and we used to, I remember in DB2, I remember. We used to do it. We never thought about it. Year it also is always 4-digited, and if you find some old legacy code using 2, definitely that may not even run in current databases. It won't. And from that point onwards, years have always been 4-digit. Okay, so keep with that format. I am not even sure if the 2 is allowed, as I said. Then comes the salary of a person. We've all talked about the deck type. The deck type, the first figure is the total size, total guys, not just before decimal, total, of which the comma, after the comma, you have 2, which says how many do I need after the decimal. So you are left with 5 places before the decimal. Right? And again, I did mention it last week also, that dec in other relational databases, you can only say dec 7 and it works. But in MySQL, when you say that, it doesn't put places after decimal or something. It uses it in some standards, but it has its own thing also. So go with this. When I tried to do that, I was not seeing any decimal places. So I would stick to always saying how many do I need after decimal. And we've already kind of made this note that for anything that is monetary, we will go dec, and there will always be 2 places after decimal. The commission needn't be so big at all. But assuming somebody's commission is as big as 100% commission, so you sold so much and salesmen are getting it, you did so much of sales that you're getting 100% commission, and maximum is 7,2, so I made it the same picture as salary. It could be less, of course, but as I said, worst case behavior, 100% commission on whatever salary you make. Okay, so that's it. So I have added a default of 0 with commission, just so that if somebody doesn't have a commission, I don't want to see null with it. And anyway, I have also added not null, but I don't even want to see a blank or anything. I want to see a 0. So you may not enter it and it will automatically become 0. So where do I use defaults? Now this default is not a good one at all. Not everybody is a clerk. You know what I mean? Like giving a default of clerk to every employee who joins is not done, but maybe that's the lowest in their hierarchy, and therefore if you're a new employee, you just become a clerk. I don't think it is, but it was asked to do the default in the example, so I did it. I wouldn't, like, it doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, it's not wrong. There's nothing wrong in it. So we'll leave it at that. So full names, please, the right type and the right size. So don't forget your sizes, okay? Use what is required. Don't go too big. And of course, if you go small, it will give you an error. Anytime you try to put bigger data in smaller boxes, SQL will give you an error. So you know you can't go wrong. So there you're okay. But don't go too big also. A name is never 100 characters. Doesn't make sense putting it as 100. You'll say it's a varchar. What's wrong with it? But why would you do it? Like, you're writing it. That means you're thinking about it, right? Okay, so that's your table. So the only new thing you've seen here is the date, but it is new for you. So now we will kind of write those statements, or I'll write those select statements that are working with table. Let's look at the data. You can use the word default if you like. So some people prefer to write one insert statement and insert all records. And if a record doesn't have something, they will either use the word default or whatever is required, they'll do it. Sometimes they also input null. If null is allowed, they'll also put null in it. But they kind of write it all together. Some people are also in the habit of writing all these variable names, all these field names right in the list, which is good, which is fine. Why? Because they say we can keep going to see what the table structure is. Like, who wants to do that? And remember, these are only 10 records. You're inserting thousands of records. You just either you write it on a piece of paper and keep it, or you memorize, oh, this is the sequence. Or some people prefer writing one insert statement per value, like this, only this. So if thousands of records are to be inserted, they will have 1,000 insert statements. Because the name occurs, they say it's easy for us. We are seeing the name right there. So whatever you prefer. You can use one insert statement and put all of them. You can write an insert statement for every record that you like. You can put your field list if you like. You can leave it empty if you like. But whatever you are doing, you must know what you are doing. That's the only requirement. You should understand what you're doing. So this is the most lazy one. The field list is empty. That means it will put all the fields in the same order, right? So that you have to remember, same order. And because I only had 10 or 15 records, I didn't bother. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't bother to kind of do it. But I leave it to you, whatever you like. So if you want to put the name of your variables here, it's not a big thing. All you do is just add it here. And it's common. So that you don't have to keep looking at. So since I haven't done it till yet, I'll just do it so that you know it can be done. Who knows, tomorrow you'll say, oh, we were never shown this. So maybe it's syntactically wrong. It's not syntactically wrong. It's just more work. And some people prefer it because they see it right here. And we had this is absolutely syntactically right. There is nothing wrong in it. It takes 1 minute to copy and paste. They don't even type it because spelling mistakes, anything. They just type, and now all they do is take one at a time and then copy paste as many times and change the record. So that way you're seeing the names of the fields right there when you're inserting data. So you can't do that. Because remember, there has to be one-to-one match. The number of fields and the type of fields have to match 1-to-1. So whatever you prefer. I'm not docking marks or not asking for particularly anything extra, unless I'm seeing, can you do different type of insert statements? Putting in the whole list, putting in only part of the list, putting it in any order, that's what is different. But if everything has to be put, choose whatever you like. Notice the use of the word default. I could have put 0 here. I just said default because I don't want to care what the default is. I just keep putting default. But 0 is logical because that's what is my default. Anywhere, if you want null, though we don't, oh, here it is. Manager number can be null. Why? Because somebody at the top will not have a manager, right? So the king here, Mr. King here, who's the president, doesn't have a manager. So how do I say he doesn't have a manager? There are two options. I can either use the word null or I can use 0 for it because 0 is not a valid informant. So whatever you choose to do. I just chose null. So I don't have that not null there. The disadvantage of not null is then it can be null at some other places. But maybe more than, like, there are different departments and the top of every department doesn't have a manager. So that way you keep it null. Or you can even use 0 here because it's an integer. It's a small int. So you decide what you want. I've stuck with null. And you can use a reserved one null as data. It's just a reserved word, which means it is undefined. Okay. So keep in mind, undefined is different from an empty string, is different from 0. There are 3 different things. So if you look at the data, the first one is the employee number. The second one is the name of the person. The third is the job description or the designation. The fourth is the manager number of the employee. So definitely if you see 7698 here, you will see 7698 somewhere here because he's an employee too. And the rest is just the date. And notice my date format, I've gone with the looks like text one. Looks like text is not text. Basically, date is a number for your information. If you go and read the manual, it's a number. It's just a number. It's just a big, huge number. Okay, but it is a number, not text. So I'll stick to this one. If for whatever reason you don't want to, this is how you do it so that you get an idea. And it's not wrong. You can mix and match, but I wouldn't mix and match. But in an insert, you can do this, and this is valid. It just is difficult to read, right? It's just difficult to read. But if it's up to you, I don't mind it. So whatever you like, but don't mix and match, please. Then it becomes confusing. Okay, so whatever you want, follow one convention. Okay, so we've already done select. We've seen all the 55 to 59. We've tried everything except order by more than one fields. We've tried everything. We've only ordered by a single field. When I do more ordering, then I'll do it because it's not tough or anything, but it's just the concept. Always please make a point that after you insert data, please show me what the table contains. Otherwise, even not me, how will you know that the table has data? Unless you do a select out of it. So in some assignments, there was no select statement. Maybe they were very sure of themselves it will work. You know what I mean? Like it will work. But unless I see a select, how will I know that data has been inserted in the table? And how will you know it has been inserted? Unless you show the data. So see that 63 is kind of always there in your scripts, if that's all you're writing. One you've already done. I'm saying a list of all the employee names and their job description. So if I mention the field names here, you mention the field names here. If I don't say anything, then you just put star. Okay, you can take it for all your assignments also. If I say what I want to see, then you give a field list. If I don't say what I want to see, you use a star. That's as simple as that. So this one we've already done. This one too, names of all the managers. So remember, manager was coming in the description. And this is case insensitive. So you can write manager as long as you spell it right. You can write manager in any combination of lowercase or uppercase. The case it is insensitive. The default collat is UTIF_general CI, I think. That's the default. I have it written somewhere because I can't remember these names, but I wrote it after we made it, like after I was stuck last time. I can't remember now, but I did. I made a note for myself so that you know. And it was something called general underscore CI. Oh yeah, that's the default is. If you want to make a note for yourself, you don't have to. The default collage sequence, you don't change it, that's the default, is UTF-8 underscore general underscore CI. I'm sure it has some full form. That's the default. So if you don't change it, that's the collage sequence that is being used. UTF-8 underscore general underscore CI. But if you want to change it, remember how do we do it? We go UTF underscore bin and it will become case sensitive. Okay, so if you want to make it case sensitive, you could. I'm not doing it, but that's the case insensitive one. We've already done the case sensitive one in a donuts, I think. We did it. UTF underscore bin. So you know about this also. You could write this yourself. Then comes the names of all. Oops, since I did a replace all, you'll have problems here. Everywhere there is no blank after it. The names of all employees who do not have a manager. And it says use the manager number field to retrieve information. It tells you. So that's the field to be used. So how do you say a person does not have a manager? Remember the description of the table, it said it is null. So where manager number is null, equal will not work, guys. Syntactically it will work. The script will run also. You won't even have a runtime error, but the result will be wrong. Right? You will always have an empty table if you go equal. Do not use equal here, please. Oops. Do not. Null uses is. Don't forget this. Very common mistake made by students. And if it is wrong, it is wrong. You're just losing marks, like out of the blue, nothing. So is null or is not null? Not equal to or not equal to. Either will not work. You can't use equal. You cannot use not equal. You have to use is and is not. Okay, don't forget that. It's a very common mistake. Students keep making it till the end. So that one is simple. He says all employees who do not have a manager. So we already said that the manager number, if the manager number is null, it will not have it. The names and hire dates of all the employees. So let's start here because this is something you haven't done before, right? So anything that has to do with hire date, we'll start working on that. Okay, so let's start hire dates. It says the names and hire date of the employees. So we need to select the name and the hire date. Let's go. Control V. Employee name and hire date. And remember, we can always give them as if we like to give them better names. I can always say as employee name. Where you have, okay, who were hired after 1981. That means 1982, 83, God knows till where. We have no clue what is the last year, but after 1981. Don't peek in the table. So don't see, oh, what are the other years? Don't, I mean, all your, write your select statements depend on the query, depending upon the query. It says everybody who was hired after 1981, don't peek in the table. You have no clue of the other hiring days. Some students will go and say, oh, the others were in 81, 82 or whatever, and they will write not equal to 81, not equal to 82. I'm not asking that. My simple question is more than 81. So what do you say? You say where the hire date, remember it's number, keep in mind dates are numbers, is greater than or equal to anybody after 1981. And after 1981 means 1981 greater than equal to, okay, so 1982, 1st January. Those are all people who were hired after 1981. Data text, it is not text. Please don't use percentages. Don't say greater than equal to 1982 percentage. Is right? No, it's not text. There are numbers. You could write the same thing. You could write the same thing this way. You remove the equal and use 31st of December. There. These people were also hired after 1981. It's a number. So it doesn't say between this and this. All I'm saying is after 1981. And it will work. Okay. Now, though it doesn't seem too intuitive, and it could be wrong in some cases, I would avoid it. Yes? I'm doing what? Come again, sorry. Okay, data. Okay, thank you. Copy and paste will get me nowhere, right? That's what happens if you copy and paste. One wrong means you have to change it at so places. Now, this will also work. Why? Because 1982-12- anything is definitely bigger than 1982. It's bigger than the number 1982. I would avoid it. It kind of looks ambiguous. It looks like as if you know that, like you're actually comparing numbers. You know what I mean? It actually looks like you're doing it with numbers. Though dates are not pure numbers, they are not ints or anything. They are numbers, but they're not ints or anything. But this will also work because anything that is 1982 1st January onwards is definitely a bigger number. So if it is a bigger number, it will be greater than 1982 because 82 is a smaller number. So I would avoid it. It will work. There is nothing wrong in it. It will work. Don't use a percentage, please. We're not saying anything greater. We cannot use a percentage with numeric data anyway. Percentages, wildcard characters can only be used with text data. So don't make that mistake at all. Absolutely not. But this will work. It will work because anything that is 1st January onwards in 1982 definitely is a bigger number than 1982. It may backfire sometimes. You may not know with what do I need to compare. Here it is okay. I know it has, I mean, 19, it will be more than 1982. Sometimes you may not. So it's safe to work with dates as if they were dates and you will not go wrong. But let's try this. So I'm going to take these three and run them. Okay, so it doesn't exist. I'm still at donuts because the table being used is wrong because I haven't run it even once. So I'll run it once and after that, then I'll start running only the ones I need. Okay, so do I have an error? No. So somewhere I'll see the answer. Now I'm going to only pick up this, okay? And run it. It hasn't even after 1981, the answers have to be same. So whether he was or she was hired in 82, 83 doesn't matter. I'm not concerned. They were everything and it will work because all I did was I did math. Right? Now let's see how hopefully I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I must have a syntax error. I should have a syntax error here. That looks like you'll say, oh, anything 1982 and whatever after it. You know what I mean? But that's really silly. Relational operators and using wildcard character is really like you really don't know what you're doing. Hopefully, I don't know because my SQL language is so loose. I don't try these things because they're not right. But let's see. Hopefully, it will give me an error. Syntax error at least. So I'll do the same thing. I'll only run this one. Let's see if it says something. See, no, it didn't. But that's incorrect syntax, guys. It's absolutely incorrect. So the script has run and the answers are also right. And the answers are also right. These are the three persons, 82, 83, and 82. We had three records. But this doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm telling you, beware of it. Please be aware of it. This is not right syntax. It just is incorrect. MySQL may do it. Tomorrow, maybe Oracle or DB2 or a good, not good, I'm just saying a different database may not. See how silly is that? Right?
Given the whole list for the last one. The other two worked and then
You have an error?
no.
Right? I want to see. Oh, okay. And did you use percentage? No, I've used a percentage. And even then the answer is wrong, right? Okay, but here we have to say greater than, your normal one is also not working. Like 1982 is okay. Okay, so here is something. Any other? Somebody else? Exam? Exam? Okay, for some students, Amanda has pointed it out. Even this is not working for her. And you know what? This is just due to how dates are being saved in XM. That's why I said, keep away. Something that doesn't look right, keep away from it. Logic, because I don't know how dates are being saved. VAMP it is okay. But XAMPP itself is not even running this. Try the percentage. Do you get syntax error after the 82? No, but it gives a wrong answer. Okay, so good. You know what? You can remove this altogether. I was never comfortable with even this one, because I don't know like how the dates are stored internally. I know their numbers. I know how they are stored in the sense of how they are kind of compared and how many days away from the beginning of I think 1801 something, but doesn't run for Amanda. Right? And the other two run. They run perfectly fine because they are perfectly fine. Like logically, there is nothing that seems wrong in the first two statements at all. They're so clear. They're absolutely clear. And the percent is running for her too, but wrong answers. So in a sense, they're wrong. For me, I'm getting the right answer even in this. So I take these two. Yeah, she gets the whole table. And even if I only do this, it runs, and I put a percentage, it runs. That proves to you guys what I'm trying to tell you is correct, right? I'm glad it's not working for somebody, because now you know that it's not the right thing to use. And hopefully you will not make that mistake. So if it's not working in exam, what about you working? You have exam too?
Yes.
Is it working for you?
I only did the proper way to do it.
Good. See? Only the proper way to do it. So there were more exam users here. Amanda? Gurdeep, right? What's your name? Just breathe. Okay, just breathe. Anybody else exam? Same problem?
No, I don't know what's the problem.
The problem is that the whole table is coming.
So the last thing, did you get 3 names?
Yes, I did.
Last night, I got 2, yeah.
Just putting 1982.
Just putting 1982?
Oh, no.
No. Yeah.
Doing the first one.
The first one is okay. All three are working for me. For me, all three are working. Even the last one with the percentage is working, which of course I wouldn't even like to think about it. Don't even think about it. Don't even put your mind to it. Like, don't even say that there are texts. Like, wildcard characters are not used with numbers. Yes, Ashpreet? On Dreamo. Oh, what is Dreamos doing? Do you have an answer for the last one? No? Okay, on the whole table? Oh, you have many errors. You're stuck somewhere. Okay. Okay, let's go up. Your problem is not this. Your problem is somewhere up. Select. Okay, so now let's go down. So you can't use this one. There is something that you can create. We have a database called GC. And the name of it. Okay? Yeah, and then you block the table. Remove your change your views. Yes. And the other thing is, how can you use the database? No, but even this one, look at your table. Right? Use first and you write create after. How can you use something before creating? Can you use something that doesn't exist? Even the logic sense.
I know.
But definitely you can use it. So Dreamhost, I don't know. But I'm glad that it is not working for some exam users. Dreamhost? Which one? Your own personal or somewhere else? Banks is our bank. Let's do that. Yeah, let's go. Is this an answer of something else or the one last one?
Nothing.
But because the last one, I think you're missing it's not the last one.
It's my thing. One of my buddies there used to do that to him all the time. He's sitting in front of me. I call his
So
name.
guys, keep away. Why even bother? You know what I mean? Why even bother? So I'll kind of, you know what? I won't even put it. If it is not working for XM guys, I'm glad, because it's not the right thinking. Makes no sense. Greater than 1982. What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like 1980, 82, 83 is also bigger, but 19821 is also bigger. That's not a date. 1982 1 is not a date. You know what I mean? So keep clean and you'll be fine. Doesn't matter what you're using, whether you're using Dreamhost, whether you're using XAMPP, anything, Oracle, DB2, you can't go wrong with the two statements I've written. You cannot. So stick to them. Okay, so that's how you use dates. Of course, you could have replaced this with, definitely you can do this. Instead of 1982 dash dash, you could have said 1982-010. That's okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong in this. You can use that. This can be done. You can use it as a number. And similarly, this can be done. Oops. Similarly, this can be done. This is 1981-12-31. And this can be done too. So there's nothing wrong in using either way, whatever you feel comfortable with. But stick to one kind of format throughout your table. I find it confusing. Like it's such a big number and you're thinking, okay, so that's the year, that's the month and so on. But is it clear? Is how to work with dates clear? As numbers. But again, a little bit different from numbers in this sense. Okay, so I've removed it. I don't want to even put it. Okay, let's go to the next one. The names and hire dates of all employees that were hired in 1981 only. So only 1981. So what do you do? Only 1981. Okay, so I hear the speech saying this, but that won't work. Hired in 1981 means from January 1st of 1981 to December 31st, right? So we won't even go with just using part of dates. We have said we won't. So what have we to do? The person was hired in, so let's do the opposite one. So hired date greater than equal to something and less than equal to something. And that less than equal to something I'll copy and kind of do it. And you have to repeat the field name, please don't forget. So if this person was hired in 81, he was hired between 1st January 81 to 31st December 81. There. That's how you would write it. Any other option? Definitely you can use between because it includes both dates. Remember, you can only use between if you want to include both dates. So, and we want to in this case. So the same thing. The use of between, you don't have to write the name of, the variable again. And I have kept a select statement for you, plus I have said, please don't use it. No, it has to be. You can use it with numbers, but you shouldn't. Oh, come on. The like has to be used with text only. And date is not text. This will work. Oh, God knows, maybe it won't work for exam at all. So notice what I've said. If the date is like 1981 and anything after that, it's 1981. And it does work on VAMP. I know it does. I'm not sure about exam. Maybe we'll have some answers from exams users and you can tell me. But don't make this mistake. Don't make this mistake at all. So it works. I know it works. That's why I've written a note for you. And many students will even then do it. You know what? I'm in my assignments. I don't want to see anything. So I've kept this note. Again, if you don't want to even leave this note there, remove it. But like is very common. Students do it all the time. So example, just read right and tell me, does it work for you? But it definitely works for VAMP. And now people who were employed in 1981. There it is. These are all the people or employees who were employed in 1981. So those are answers. Notice how they're all 81. So definitely they are right. The people who were employed in 1981. And if you like, I can run the third one for you. Except that it does work in exam also. Okay. So please make a note then. Exam users make a note. Everybody make a note. I don't want to see percentages or any wildcard characters in your dates. They're not text. They're not. Don't make that mistake of, since it is in quotes, it is fine. Okay, so that takes care of that. I'll just finish this quickly and then I'll give you a break and your assignment and you can kind of do whatever you like with your break and assignment. This one is easy. It says list the names and commission of all employees who have earned a commission. Please understand, earned means they have a commission. I'm not even talking about undefined. I've said they've earned a commission. Earned a commission means value is greater than 0. Okay, value greater than 0. They've earned a commission. You'll say, why can't I say is not null? Because 0 will also be is not null, and 0 is not a commission. I've said they have earned a commission. So is not null is not, I mean, it may be fine for your data because nobody has a 0 commission, but who knows? So you can take a risk, write a statement that will always be right. So you're saying anything greater than 0. The nulls one will automatically be ignored. They don't even count here. So that's simple. You've done it before. Names and salaries of all employees that earn at least 5,000. At least means greater than equal to. Whenever in doubt of at least, at most, please ask in class, in an exam or whatever. What does at least means? What does at most means? But at least means greater or equal. And at most means less or equal. Okay? They're just normal English words. The names, job description, and salaries of all employees that earn between 1,000 and 2,000. You've seen this before. So whatever you've seen before, I've kind of already written it. And of course, you can use the between verb. Right? So you've seen this in donuts. Names and salaries of all clerks. The job description is clerk. Again, a simple one. Names and job description of the employees that have no commission. Again, I'm saying no. I'm not saying undefined. Right? I'll be careful what I'm asking. No commission means commission is equal to 0. So again, you have to say commission is equal to 0. So these are, I hope these are okay. You can go through them, and if there is anything that's not clear, stop me, okay? Names and job descriptions of employees who is either a manager or an analyst or a salesman. So you've seen this one for sure. I'll give you something else, an easier one. We all know the or, right? It says, are you a manager? Are you a analyst, or are you a salesman? The or is simple, a simpler one. You're basically saying that the job description lies in this set. You can kind of create a list. So you can put your manager in it. Oops. You can put your manager in it. Put a comma. You can put your analyst in it. Put a comma. So separated by, it's a list, okay? And it's a, I call it a set because you don't duplicate values in it. Doesn't make sense in duplicating. Now, I don't know whether you can syntactically duplicate, but doesn't make sense. So basically, you're saying that if the job description is in this set, then that part, oh, wait, who is it or is it not? Is he? Yeah, he is either a manager. There is an in, and that means there is also a not in. We'll use not in also. But this is in. Much easier to write and much shorter to write also. You don't have to repeat the field names and you don't have to use or. Again, but in an exam, I may say use in, or I may say use the Boolean operator. So then you'll just have to answer it like because I'm testing you on everything, right? Because things can be done, or I'll say, okay, give me 2 answers to this question. So those are the 2 answers. So you have to know everything. And when you go out in the real life and work, then it's your preference, whatever you like. And of course, we know that the in is easier. And this will work. So try it. Try this. So this person is either a manager or an analyst or a salesman. So there they are. You don't see anything else. We definitely know there was a clerk, there was a president. So if you don't see them, hopefully the answer is right. But hopefully don't go on hopes. Always double check your answers with your table. Okay. Script run doesn't mean everything is right. You see a table as an answer doesn't mean it is right. It could be wrong. So always double check. Always double check with your answer. I just know it because I've done it yesterday. List the names and job description of employees who is neither a salesman nor a clerk. Not an or, nor a clerk. Make that change, please, to your comment. List the names and description of employees who is neither a salesman nor a clerk. And we know this. Right? We know this. We actually also know the other one with the other operator. So that you can remember. Remember the other not equal to operator? Oh, there are a few more ways. It says who is neither a salesman nor a clerk. Okay, so do this now. and say not in. Remember, guys, this is not a valid verb. This doesn't work. This is not correct. There is nothing called a not equal to. You don't use not equal to. You can either use the exclamation mark equal or you can use the angular brackets. Not equal to is not an operator. I'll tell you what you can use if you really want to use the not. Yeah, we'll have to use the not with the field. I'll show that to you too. Here. And this is your not in verb. Like there is in, there is not in. There it is. Make sense? So as long as the description is not a salesman and not a clerk, he's somebody else. So all three will work. You can double check, take all your three and run. Answer should, oh, this is a different one. Okay, I'm saying, that was a bigger table. No, this table is smaller. So these are the persons who are neither a salesman nor a clerk. So you see analyst, you see manager, and you see president. So we are okay. Now there are other ways of writing it. The easiest, of course, as you see, is the not in. But you can also do this. If you wanted to really use the not word, the not operator, this is how you would use it. Not I mean, some people think it that way. Whatever you can put your head around. There. If you have to use the not verb, the Boolean operator not, remember not is always used with a field name. It's a field name that you're trying to negate. The value in a field is what you're trying to negate. So not equal, the word not equal is not a valid operator. Remember we had that syntax error, but this is okay. This is saying the job description is not salesman or the job description is not clerk. Only run this one or maybe the last two so that we know the answer is right. It's just, the answer is not right. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I used the wrong operator. That's why it's not right. There, sorry. Right? Now let's try. Now, of course, I used the wrong operator. So it's basically saying, kind of, if you want to read it, job description is not salesman and job description is not clerk. So show me those results. If you want to use not, actually, you can also do it another way. Since I was using or, it just came to my head. You can even do it this way. You can put not outside once, and then you can use an or. This should also work. So you're basically forming a compound condition and taking the not of it. I think it should work. Yeah, it will work. I write the not once and then I put an or inside. Notice I've bracketized it. So these people are not salesmen and not clerks. And you see that it isn't coming up. President is coming up, manager is coming up, analyst is coming up. I don't think we have anything else, but you know what? I'm thinking a lot. Just let me double check. Clerk, analyst, salesman. Yep, we are okay. We are okay. Where were we? Sorry about that. There it is. Right? So I've given you 5 solutions to the same query. Choose whatever makes sense to you in real life, in your assignments if nothing is asked. But if something is asked, I want to see the relational operator, I want to see the not verb, then I'm forcing you to think that way. And just because I have to test, did you understand? Okay? So in the last one, don't forget to, I was using or here and I was wrong because you have to do the not once. So you're basically taking this condition and negating it. So if you're a salesman or a clerk, not of it, that means you're something else. Right? So think over. I mean, sometimes it comes and sometimes it doesn't. Like when I was removing the and or from there, I thought, oh, maybe I could do it this way. I wasn't sure, but it made sense when I thought about it. So you can try, like you can always try. You can see the results. You can match your results. You know whether they're right or not. So you can't go wrong. You know what I mean? Like you have your table, you have your results, compare the two and see if they're right or wrong. That takes care of what I want to do today. So you can take a break. I'll put up your assignment. You can start the assignment if you like. You can get your food and pour it on your laptops if you like. The assignment is due before you leave today. Okay? So whatever works for you is fine by me.